Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the State Board of Education meeting for February 8th of 2022. And at this time, we will call the meeting to order, and I will ask our chair-elect, Ms. Stapleton, if she will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've got to follow the advice I'm about to give all of you, and that's to pull your microphones close and speak loudly and clearly so the folks online can hear and so we can correctly record the minutes for today's meeting. And the first order of business would be approval of the State Board of Education minutes for January the 11th of 2022. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Next is approval of State Board of Education agenda for today, February 8th, 2022. Is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. Our visitors and news media lists look like they're all empty. So we will dispense with that and keep right on going to the State Board Chair's report. And I want to give you all fair warning right now, fellow board members. We're going to take new photos next month. So get your hair, clothes, all that good stuff ready. So we've got a nice new backdrop out there, and we're going to try to get pictures. Everybody will look nice and consistent with the new backdrop. So you're all on notice. Next month, it's photo day. And then I have the pleasure today to introduce a incoming board member. Dr. Cheryl Collier is with us from the 13th Circuit. She grew up in Greenwood County, attended public schools, graduated from 96 High School. She completed her undergraduate work at Lander, where she received an English degree, also a master's degree and PhD in English from the University of Georgia. She began her teaching career at Clemson and has taught at North Greenville University since 1999, where she currently serves as Associate Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Science. She also teaches a variety of courses ranging from literary theory to American literature to creative writing. She's a recipient of the South Carolina Independent Colleges and Universities 2010 Excellence in Teaching Award and has served on the Lander University Alumni Board and the South Carolina Commission on Women. So we're excited to have you with us today, getting your orientation done. And look forward to having you over here on this side with us next month. I also want to take a minute to thank Mr. Whittemore, who is back with us today for one more time. How many times have we told you there's only going to be one more time? So you better stay by the phone. And also I want to wish you a very wonderful, happy birthday today. We appreciate the fact that you take your birthday to come join us today.
Thank you, and you too. It's the chair's birthday also today.
Well, I prefer to think of it as the anniversary of my 39th birthday, but so that concludes my report. Madam Superintendent, you're up next, please.
Happy birthday, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Whittemore, many, many more, and welcome to my 96 neighbor and fellow Lander grad. We got a lot to talk about, Cheryl. We're grateful. And just a special thank you, we don't say this enough, to each of you for your service. I don't know that everyone realizes that you do this truly out of public service. No compensation to you for the time that you come here every month and that you spend throughout the month working on policies, answering phone calls, studying, all the things that's required of your membership. But thank you so much for your service to this work. We've had a busy month. Just a couple things I want to fill you in on. We want to be certain that you, as well as all the public, have access and understand how our federal funding is being spent. We launched last week a new dashboard that you see the website information there where anyone can go online, taxpayers across the state can see how schools and districts are utilizing our federal funding. So we're really proud of this. Hats off to the staff who made this happen, and we invite all of you to watch us and help us be held accountable for how this funding is spent. We are in the process of auditing the districts, and we also are already out monitoring districts on how they're to be certain that the money is being spent as it is supposed to be spent. We are in our second annual student writing contest with a partnership with Dominion Energy, where juniors and seniors are encouraged to write about a notable African American with ties to South Carolina who has inspired them. And there are many folks who could be used for that role. The winners receive an Apple MacBook Air and $1,000 for their school. So we're very excited about this project. Another that I think is so important, we have shared $250,000 of our ESSER funding with the Mental Health America of Greenville County to help sustain the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Unfortunately, we saw this past year the highest call volume ever for children 7 to 19, not only about issues of harming themselves, but with difficulty in family relationships. So we're thankful for this group and the work that they do, and just so happy that we can play a small part in supporting their work. And along with that, a group of people that we need to give a special thank you are our school counselors and anyone who's out there working in behavioral services, helping support our students and their families across the state and nation. This is National School Counseling Week, and we have over 2,300. We need more. We had a very productive meeting last week with the school superintendent. Mr. Robbie Kerr, who is the director of Department of Health and Human Services, came, and we had a conversation with our school superintendents on how better we can serve their needs in behavioral health. How do we get more counselors in the school? What are the obstacles that are causing them to not be able to give the support? And there's such an array, such a disparity from some school districts who have 0 mental health counselors working in their schools to others who have never abundant amount, but who are able to serve more students. So we appreciate it. Governor McMaster, in his State of the State address, announced that Mr. Kerr would be charged with looking at this issue and how better we can serve the mental health needs of students in South Carolina. So we've been collaborating with him very much since that address, and I believe that we're going to break down some barriers that have been in place, and all with the goal of making sure that we're doing everything we can to meet the needs, the mental health needs of our students and staff across the state. This concludes my report for now. I have a few other things to fill you in on when we get to our 3 school districts that we're working with, but I'll be glad to take any questions.
Any questions for the superintendent?
Thank you.
Thanks for now. Parliamentarian.
Who wants to guess what I'm going to talk about?
Oh, let me see.
Ms. Chapman wins. She's already filed. I still haven't filed. I can't get my password to reset. So please, you need to file your Statement of Economic Interest, your 2022 Statement of Economic Interest. That thus concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you very much. And I don't believe we had anybody sign up for public comments this month either. So we can get right away to the state board items. The first one is the Policy and Legislative Committee. It did not meet this month, so there is no report. So we will move along to the Educator Professions Committee report, and I'll recognize Mrs. Lee for that.
Thank you, Chairman Walters. The Education Professions Committee approved 2 action items this morning. Item 1 is the adoption of additional certification assessment option for school leadership. Item 2 is the identification of critical need subject areas for 2022-2023. The committee did not hear any information items. The Education Professions Committee placed these 2 action items on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move along now to the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee report. Ms. Frierson.
Good afternoon. This morning, action item was presented to the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee. There was one action item, and it was presented to us by Dr. David Mathis. The adoption of additional social studies instructional materials. Dr. Mathis presented a list of books for approval that included 3 anatomy and physiology books, 1 anatomy and physiology book pending the recommendation of an edit, 3 kindergarten through second grade social studies books, 2 macroeconomics advanced placement books, 1 macroeconomics advanced placement book pending recommendation of an edit, 2 microeconomic advanced placement books, 1 sociology book, 4 psychology advanced placement books. So item 1 was approved and placed on the consent agenda. Additionally, Mr. Kabrowski made comments based on his thorough review of social studies materials that will be considered for approval during the March State Board of Education meeting. He asked that the review committee consider his comments in their review of the materials. This morning, no information items were presented to the Standards of Learning and Accountability Committee, and 1 item was placed on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Chapman, you had a very busy morning this morning on the Educator Licensure Committee.
Yes, thank you. The Educator Licensure Committee acted on 19 cases this morning, resulting in 17 suspensions, 1 public reprimand, and 1 revocation.
Thank you very much, and for the record, those were ratified in the full Board Educator License Committee report, which I will now give. The full Board Committee heard 5 cases this morning. 3 had to do with applications for initial certification. 2 were approved, 1 was denied. Then there was a order of permanent revocation that was approved, and then also a 90-day suspension, order of suspension for unprofessional conduct for breach of contract that was approved. So that was all of the license cases for today. So now for the consent agenda, which has been distributed, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. We will move on now to our various reports. Dr. Mathis, I think you're first up.
Thank you, Mr. Walters and board members. One of the priorities that State Superintendent Spearman has set forth for the South Carolina Department of Education in the current calendar year is the completion of the revision of the English Language Arts and Math standards. So as an update to this priority, the Office of Assessment and Standards is taking a lead in this work. Writing committee members throughout South Carolina have been identified and have begun their work. Additionally, national consultants have been identified to ensure our standards are competitive when compared to other states. In the revision of both sets of standards, ELA and math, here is what we know is important to teachers. Fewer standards that are prioritized for each grade level. Practitioners' input from teachers and administrators. Advice from national experts. Standards that are written with clarity. Vertical alignment from grade level to grade level. Supporting documents and resources linked within the standards. Removal of the guesswork of what will be assessed. And also that the ELA and math standards are written in the same format to avoid confusion of what is expected. This is important work that will be valuable to districts, especially in their efforts to address unfinished learning brought on by the pandemic. And finally, currently, we are on track to complete the writing process by fall of '22, which will be followed by a period of public review and comment, and then brought before the State Board and Education Oversight Committee for approval. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Dr. Mathis?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will move on now to our district updates. Ms. Mack.
If I blink, this meeting will be over. Good afternoon. I'm going to share some updates with Allendale County School District. On January 6th, Allendale County School District announced a partnership with the Celebrate Freedom Foundation for a drone training program. And the district leadership team met to develop a plan to address all subgroup deficiency areas and learning loss from the previous year. In Florence School District 4, Brockington Elementary School celebrated their honor roll recipients on January 19th. The district celebrated the 100th day of school on the 28th of January, and benchmark testing took place during the week of January 31st. In Williamsburg County School District, Kingstree High School placed at the top 10 for the South Carolina AA or 2A basketball, and selected staff from C.E. Murray and Kingstree High School met on Thursday, January 27th, to begin discussing school colors and the mascot for the consolidation of C.E. Murray and Kingstree High School. Future meetings will include selected students from each high school. This concludes my report.
Any questions for Ms. Mack? Madam Superintendent, I think you have some comments to make. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Mack. And I want to say thank you because she has put in a lot of extra time, as have other members of the staff. I wanted to bring you up to date since our last month's meeting on the progress we're making down in Florence 4 with the consolidation of Florence 1 and 4. On the Thursday after you met on that Tuesday of January, the Florence 1 board met and voted to allow Dr. Richard O'Malley, their superintendent, to serve as the designated superintendent by me, my designated representative in Florence 4. He has been working very quickly and very appropriately with Ms. Mack to move forward. They have surveyed all of the staff and found that most everyone in Florence 4 would like a job in Florence 1, a few retirements. So they are in the process now of scheduling meetings for the personnel directors of Florence 1 to interview those staff members so that the best placement could be made. And as I told you earlier, if a job is not available, I've given my commitment to them that I'll assist in notifying at least surrounding superintendents of their availability. They have also sent information out to the parents of the middle school and the high school students, allowing those families to go ahead and make a choice as to which high school in Florence 1 or which middle school they would like to attend next year. Many have already responded, more high school students than middle school students, so we know that we've got to do a little more information, communication, so that the parents understand what the options are that are available. So Dr. O'Malley and his staff and Kim Mack are working on that. Last Thursday, I held a meeting with the board chair and vice chair of both Florence 1 and 4. That meeting was helped to assemble that group through the School Boards Association. Ms. Mack was on the call and other staff members with me. We brought Ms. Joe and the Vice Chair, Mr. Eccles, up to date on the progress that has been made. I thought it was a very productive meeting, and I appreciated their time. So we're moving forward. More has to be done, but as quickly as possible, we're doing that. This morning, I have continued to meet with the Florence delegation, legislative delegation, because there are some things that they need to attend to in legislation, local legislation. It's my understanding that they are working on that. And Katie Nilgis, and our governmental relations person, and I met this morning with Senator Johnson briefly, and that's ongoing, and we should see some movement on that very, very soon, an introduction of some local legislation that will take care of several issues. The consolidation, the tax, how the tax levy will be handled, how the representation for Timmonsville on the Florence Board will be handled. So I'm very pleased with the work that's going on, and I think, I wish it could have happened earlier, but we're doing it as best we can right now. So I'll be happy to answer any questions for you if you have anything to add or ask, because I know you've been getting some communications about that. It's not always, what you read is not always as it happened, okay? There's always two sides, aren't there? But I'm real pleased how it's moving along. Williamsburg, again, we're moving there. Dr. Wilder's working to do similar type information gathering from the families at C.E. Murray, as we will be closing the C.E. Murray High School at the end of this school year, and those students will be transferring over to Kingstree. I know she's having meetings with the students on talking about the school colors, school mascots, those things that are really important, the minutia. But we're allowing those students to be very, very involved with that, and they are very excited. I've had no complaints from students, and really I think the parents realize this is the best move for their students. Allendale, we have a meeting scheduled, I think it's at the end of this month, with their board officers to talk about how we move through for a transition with them as well.
Any questions for Superintendent Spearman?
I just have one. Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask about Williamsburg. I remember from representing students there in cases, even when they went to see Murray, sometimes they had to get up at 4 a.m. and wait in the darkness. And I think it's a great thing you're doing. I just wonder, are they carefully monitoring the transportation? Because that seemed like an awful burden even for the distances when they went to the local one. And I can just imagine the greater distances involved and the cost of how a teenager, is tough to handle.
You're right, Mr. Krabowski. Transportation is an issue. By state law, no student can be on a bus more than 90-minute routes. We try to stay as far south of that as we possibly can. Sir, one way, yes, sir, one way. And unfortunately, we probably have a few who have to do that, not in general, but we are looking at all of that. I hope that, this being high school, the high school students, often they can drive, but we will be looking at that and stay within the law on that. We also and Mr. Walters knows this, when we went into Williamsburg County, we closed the charter school that was way out in the country, close, some of the proximity for those students. Some of those families elected to go to, instead of coming into town, into Kingstree for elementary school or the nearest elementary school in Williamsburg, they were actually closer to Andrews Elementary in Georgetown County. And Georgetown School District has been very open to helping us with that as well, so I appreciate that. I don't think we have that option right now in Williamsburg, but we're willing to, if it is an issue and too long of a route for a child, we'll look at that. But thanks for bringing that up.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Is there any other business to come before the board? Well, let me just say, while this meeting went quickly today, the reason it went so quickly is because of all of you here with us in the room and those members that are online were here before 9 o'clock this morning doing the heavy lifting and committee work. So it was 3 hours this morning to be able to have a shorter meeting this afternoon. So thank you all for being here and for the efforts you put in. And there being no other business to come before the board, we'll stand adjourned.